Rusk disagrees with you, and he was the Secretary of State at the time, but that's fine.
The communist nations have exploited the turmoil of a time of transition in an effort to extend communist control into other areas of the world.
Thoughts on Dean Rusk and America's involvement in Vietnam? I know next to nothing about that.
Exactly.
Bitcoin is crashing so hard that miners are unplugging their equipment. Disastrous. Bitcoin is crashing hard, reaching historic lows of well below the $70,000 mark. At the time of writing, the token is hovering just above $63,000, levels we haven't seen since October 2024. The ongoing plunge has made it far less economical to mine the digital token, a notoriously compute and energy-intensive process, to the point that large-scale computing companies are starting to unplug their equipment, as Bloomberg reports. As prices continue to plummet and electricity costs climb, it's become tough out there for a crypto miner. The hash price index, which is used to determine how much revenue miners can make by mining crypto, reached its lowest point on record this week, according to mining services company Luxor Technology. According to CoinDesk, the average cost to mine one Bitcoin is currently around $87,000, far higher than its current going rate, making it an extremely unprofitable proposition. It's a massive wipeout as investors continue to sell off their reserves, with some comparing it to the time China banned crypto mining in 2021. Crypto enthusiasts are expecting the worst, with some predicting the token will nosedive to just $30,000. The decrease is historic, the largest since the China ban. Mining company CleanSpark Chief Business Officer Harry Sutter told Bloomberg, explaining that winter storms raising electricity prices, combined with the recent border tech sell-off, were likely to blame. Turning off mining hardware during extreme weather conditions or surges in prices isn't unheard of, but given the crypto's ongoing demise, a far rarer situation is playing out. While the extremely volatile cryptocurrency has been put to the ringer on several occasions over the years, the decline comes at a striking moment. As CNN points out, crypto is hailed as a safe haven by its proponents. Given geopolitical turmoil and plenty of economic uncertainty, crypto's price should have instead skyrocketed. Yet precious metals, most notably gold, have fared well beyond Bitcoin's current price. Bitcoin is crashing. The value of an ounce of gold reached an all-time high late last year as investors looked for much safer bets than volatile cryptocurrencies. The investor Michael Burry, who famously shorted the U.S. housing market before its collapse in 2008, argued in a Substack post this week that further sell-offs could lead to a death spiral for the broader economy that could be difficult to recover from. Quote, "This is no organic use case reason for Bitcoin to slow or stop its descent," end quote. Instead of mining crypto, companies are starting to pivot, according to Bloomberg, allocating their hardware to powering AI models instead of mining crypto. Whether that will turn out to be a safer bet, as investors are starting to get cold feet over AI as well, that remains to be seen.
Here's the thing, is that you shitcoiners stole Goldbug's language to sell your Aircoin, and you never properly understood us. See, the argument that you were taking is that fiat currencies are horrific and you need something outside of the system to protect you. All that's fine, but you never learned why. You just mimicked our language. Even now in your argument where you're saying, all markets have a bubble. That's language stolen from when we explained the housing bubble to you. When people said, housing prices will never go down. It's that word never. That doesn't mean anything. Our argument for gold and silver isn't that it's some magical metal that can never go down. It's that our fiat currencies have been fucked since the Panic of 1819, and then in the 70s when Nixon took us off the gold standards, and the reckoning that's coming has been long overdue. And that if the United States and other governmental agencies all across the world and their banksters stopped fucking with fiat currencies, they would be fine. But they're not going to do that. It's not that we hold some magical key, gold and silver are shiny and they're the answer to the future. It's that it's always been money, and that value is always relative to gold and silver. It's how you measure inflation. Sure, you may have more dollars in your bank, but relative to gold, do you really have more money? Because that is your arbiter. That's your measurement of how much wealth you actually have. This is what happens when you don't study, and when you don't know things, and when you mimic arguments and steal them for your own causes, and you don't know the history, and you don't know the fundamentals of an argument. Silver is not in a bubble. Even if there is a pullback in silver, the inevitability of the reckoning of having to pay the piper of reality, it's simple math. It can be avoided, sure, if the government starts acting responsibly if they turn the lights off at the Fed and stop overprinting the currency. That can happen. The argument isn't, again, that we just hold some great magical shiny thing and that we just want to get it because it looks good or because it's great and it will last forever. It is going to last for a long time. This little bump up to $100 for an ounce of silver is nothing compared to what's coming. The economic tragedy that is going to befall the United States to the fault of many people from many different parties and many different greenspans and heads of feds is going to come. You cannot fit a square into a round hole. You cannot spend more than you earn. You cannot create value by printing currency. And you've been doing it since at least 1819. So it's coming. Now, if you knew the arguments, and if you studied history, and you didn't just mimic them so that you could hype your shitcoin and sell air to people, you would know that. But you don't. So now you're fucked because you bought hundreds of thousands of dollars of Bitcoin way too late, way after the big whales have already sold all of theirs and are billionaires living in Puerto Rico in mansions and who are Peter Schiff's neighbors. They're friends. They know each other. I'm not saying it's WWE, that, there's no animosity. But that's what you're doing. You're shilling for air. And if you can't understand a blockchain, you should never put money into a blockchain. I don't. I'm not going to spend 7 years trying to figure out, Bitcoin answers questions that it creates for itself and it's closed-ended. And that's great. And if you're a criminal who's trying to get ransom money from somebody, you can send money anonymously. Fantastic. Nobody is buying Bitcoin to purchase things anymore. People need silver for electric vehicles, for solar panels, for cars. They need it more and more. That's why the silver market is so erratic. Gold needs to be used too. It's not just jewelry. It's used in things, but silver is used way more. And I'll repeat, there is simply nothing that tells you that next year the demand for silver will go down because the economy will be greater, or that the supply will increase. It takes 10 years to make a silver mine. There just isn't enough. China just cut off all of its refineries. See, after it comes out of a mine, and you can't just mine just for silver alone, you have to mine for other metals. There's no just silver mine. They have to, I think, mine for copper. I'm not really sure. But you have to mine for other things. You don't just mine for silver. Then it has to be refined. And the Chinese have cornered the market because they use child labor on refineries. And they just cut it off. As of January 1st, they're no longer sending out refined silver to the rest of the world, or especially not the United States. So the demand is increasing, the supply is shrinking, which means the price will go up. And it's still cheap. It's still cheap. These mining stocks, they still haven't figured out how bad it is. It should be way more than $100 an ounce for silver. It is way more valuable than that. And if you're not buying silver or silver mining stocks, you're gonna be fucked. As a matter of fact, it is your duty and responsibility for you and your family to buy silver. All those things, all that hype you heard about Bitcoin, I'm going to sell everything and buy Bitcoin. That's what you should be doing with gold and silver. Just for survivability's sake. Not even just, I'm going to make money. It's not a short trade. You don't look at the thing for 5 minutes. Nobody who buys physical silver is selling. You have a physical market. Unlike Bitcoin, there's a physical thing that your numbers have to match. And the fact is, the numbers in New York right now do not match the numbers in India, and they do not match the numbers in China. They just don't. You see a spot price in New York, and that's all based on ETF trades and future contracts, and those people are all being wiped out. People who are holding silver, and gold, they're the biggest winners. Because no matter what the contract says, you have it in your hand. There's no physical part of Bitcoin. There's nothing to match it to. Go sell your air somewhere else. You lost, you were wrong, and you were lucky if you got in early. That's it. Move on over. Nobody wants to sit there and say, ha, you were wrong. We all want you to do well. Shut up. Fucking do what we're telling you. We know what we're talking about. If you haven't read The Panic of 1819 by Murray Rothbard, just shut the fuck up. You don't know what the fuck you're talking about. If you don't know the machinations of the Fed and the banksters of all across the world of what they've been doing in 1819 and in 29, and if you didn't understand what happened in 08, then don't talk. Do that. Go read up on that. Then come back here and then tell us about what you've learned about fiat currencies. Don't give us lectures about what markets are and what they aren't. You learned everything from gold bugs. That's where you learned it from. This language that you're mimicking, you learned it from us. So don't lecture us about markets, please.